Hello from outside. So it was brought to my attention that a lot of people watching the JAWS videos don't actually know me personally or really know the entirety of the project. So my professor and I figured it might be a good idea for me to make an introduction video, both about myself and the project, so you can get to know, well, everything a little bit better. So I've prepared a little series of questions that you may have about the project, and if you have any more, please feel free to let me know in some way and I'll try to answer them for you, but hopefully this will answer a lot of things. There are so many airplanes today. I restarted this already because of airplanes. You done? Okay, so the first question I have written on here, which is really philosophical, is just who are you? And I really didn't mean it that way. Just introducing myself. Hello, my name's Erica Denker. I'm from a suburb of Chicago out west where civilization dissolves into cornfields, and I'm currently a student at Purdue University. When I got into school, I was admitted as an anthropology major, and then I added a double major in genetics on top of that. But after watching my roommate build robots on the floor of our dorm, I got a little jealous and figured I might be a better engineer, seeing as one of my favorite things to do in high school was build the sets for our theater productions. I applied to the College of Engineering this past semester, and unfortunately was denied on account that they were unable to find the short answer questions that I had submitted. They had no record that I actually submitted them, so we're looking into it, but as of right now, I cannot say I'm an engineer. I am here because I work in Eric's lab, Dr. Eric Oterola Castillo, because I was in his class last fall, and I expressed an interest in their percussion machine, Arnold, which is really ironic considering now I'm building, basically it's like cousin. That's who I am. The next thing I have on here is what is JAWS? JAWS is my project, and it stands for the Jaw-Dropping Anthro-Engineering Winch System. Yes, it's a pun. No, I will not change it. I'm very proud of it, actually. And it is essentially a tool that I'm creating to help researchers in a variety of fields, not just anthropology, study animal bites in a laboratory setting without having to use live specimens. Because one of the issues that comes across in research of this kind is that we can't tell an animal to bite a little harder or bite in a specific spot or put it to the front or the back of their jaw. We have to take whatever we get. However, if you created a artificial way of manufacturing animal bites, that way you could monitor how changes in force, how changes in bite, etc. impact the resulting bite marks. So JAWS, hopefully, I think I answered my third question, hopefully JAWS will be a tool for people to manufacture animal bites in a way that they can control how the outcome looks. My third question on here is what is the project's end goal? The end goal is, as stated, to create a device that manufactures animal bite marks, but in a wider setting, the goal is to create a new avenue for researchers to explore bite marks and to explore how an animal bite affects different things. For example, in our lab, we like to analyze bones, and bones found on dig sites especially, and we like to look at the marks that are on them and try to determine what made them. And one of the other jobs I do in the lab is I'm helping analyze 3D scans of bone marks like this to make a catalog. And this catalog will hopefully help other researchers identify marks that they find in the field. However, we don't necessarily have a complete catalog of all known animal marks because some animals are hard to access, some animals are difficult to work with. Some animals that we're looking for may even be extinct. So JAWS hopefully would be a system where we can manufacture animal bite marks, so we would have to eliminate a lot of effort to put in to find live specimens. So that's kind of the end goal, though really my end goal is just to have a product that other people can use for whatever they deem it useful for, because the reality is I can create this and I can give it to people, but I'm not going to be able to name all of the potential uses for it. That's something that I can expect other people to do, and I'm actually really excited to see once this is created and once people know about it, what people do with it. So I have written next, what is the current design plan? So this is probably what most of you are watching this video for, because you watched me build something in my garage and you're like, great, it looks like a table, but why are you doing it that way? So a lot of the design is actually inspired by the percussion machine that is part of our lab. Arnold, I'll put in a picture of Arnold. Arnold and JAWS are kind of going to be cousins, and that Arnold, they use stone tools to manufacture the marks, whereas JAWS will be animal bites. So I looked at the design that they came up with for Arnold, in that it's like a winch, and a winch raises a lever with springs attached to it, and then it clamps shut, and the springs are what generates the tension force necessary to create that hammer force for the stone tool. So looking at bite marks, a lot of what generates the force is animal muscles. So that's what I'm going to be using springs for in this case. I'm hoping to mount springs between a raising and lowering arm and the general table structure itself in order to create that tension force. And essentially I will use a winch to winch open the arm. There will be a skull mounted between the arm and the table. That way, when I open the arm, the top jaw of the skull will open with it. Then you can insert really whatever you want to make a bone mark in, whether it be a bone a bite mark, whether it be a bone or a piece of clay, something like that. You draw it open with the winch, and once you release the tension from the winch, hopefully everything will snap shut due to the tension force. So it kind of functions, think of it like a bear trap, in other words. It's basically a overcomplicated bear trap where you can switch out the skulls if needed to create different animal bite marks. So that's currently the design plan in terms of the actual device itself. My next question, what's the deal with the skulls? So you heard me mention a couple times that I'm using skulls to create these animal bites because you need to have the teeth arranged as they would be in a normal animal in order to get the bite marks you're looking for. But what's the deal? I haven't really mentioned them yet. That's because I haven't really gotten to that point in the project yet. My hope is that once I have the physical device for JAWS, then I will know exactly how the skulls are going to fit in, and then I can more accurately analyze what I need to make the skulls out of and how I'm going to do that. And that's something I'm going to need to do a lot more research on. Anyone watching this video who knows anything about biomechanics or how to manufacture skulls at a cheap price, please let me know. My current plan is I found a bunch of 3D scans of skulls posted by a museum in California onto a 3D scan website. So my hope is that I would be able to 3D print a skull and then make a cast of it. By printing a 3D skull in cheap plastic and then making a cast of it, I can put whatever I want in that cast and use whatever materials I want. The issue with the 3D print itself is that it has a lot of places where a shearing force could really easily cut it in half, and wildlife, I guess. I'm concerned about with just a 3D print. There's a very, very high chance that it could break under the pressure that it would be expected to perform under. So I'm hoping to look for a harder material, something that I can make a cast out of, something that I could pour and then harden, and would still behave a little bit more similarly to the bone that I'm trying to replicate. It would be really expensive to use actual skulls, and we run the risk of breaking one if we use too much force, because at the end of the day, this is an experiment. Things are likely to break, things are likely to go wrong, and that's kind of why I'm enjoying making these videos and making them super honest and just kind of sitting with the camera, sitting with the audience. Because the reality is, the plan I'm telling you about today is not going to be the final project. That's just not the reality of these kinds of research projects. The idea is to learn from your mistakes and develop and continue to evolve the design as the project continues. So I'm really appreciating just being able to sit down with a camera and be very upfront and kind of have just some fun with a person, because I have a personality and I'm prone to mistakes, just like every other person. While I may not be in the College of Engineering, I have many friends who are, and one of the big things I've learned from them is that you can't expect the project's final outcome to be exactly what you anticipated. There will be plenty of roadblocks in the middle, and that's why I am basically leaving this video and the part about the skulls very loose-ended, because the fact of the matter is, I haven't gotten there yet, and how that's going to turn out depends a lot about what happens in the next few weeks of building. So, I'm actually really excited to make mistakes and evolve the project, so I'm purposely being very vague about the skulls, just because I don't want to commit to something and then change my mind later. Finally, I'd just like to go over a general project timeline, which I will put up right here. So essentially the hope is that over the summer, with a combination of working from home and a combination of going back into campus, I will be able to construct the actual winch system that composes most of JAWS. And the hope is that it will actually work. By the time the school starts in the fall, I was hoping to be in the College of Engineering by then and be able to implement some of the things I have learned in my classes. However, it sounds like I'm going to be a little bit more on my own. And that's okay. Hopefully it'll still work. Hopefully I'll be able to put this together and continue on my timeline as I hoped. From there, the plan is in the fall to start looking at those skulls and casting things and putting something in there. I believe a wolf may be one of the first candidates for this. It's small, it's something we have a lot of marks from already. And then from there, winter break, I will be, synthesizing all of my data, making sure I have everything I need, so that the way the spring semester I can write up my reports, make sure I have everything that I need in order to start presenting at conferences at the end of the year. I know that I'm definitely presenting at the OUR Research Conference for undergraduates because I was lucky enough to receive a grant from them. But I believe that I am also looking at presenting at a couple of other conferences. By the end of the next school year, the project should be completed, and I should have a lot of reports and things to give to other people who may want to continue working with the device. But my hope is that I can step to the side and let other people use the project for their own purposes and whatever they think it can be used for. And I'm really excited to watch from a distance as the project develops into something bigger than what I may have anticipated it to be. I know there's a couple groups interested in perhaps digitizing the project, things like that. I've heard a couple things down the grapevine. So by next summer, I should have finished reports for everyone to look at. I'm just excited to see where it goes from there. So that's a little bit about myself and a little bit about the project. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'll put my email here. And I'd be happy to talk to anyone about the project. If you have any ideas, please let me know, because I am mostly working by myself, and any help is appreciated. I'm really excited to take all of you on my anthro engineering adventure, and we'll have to see how it goes. I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.